from your Channel 5 family.
This is the CBS Evening News. Connie Chung reporting. Good evening. Chinese leaders today announced new regulations aimed at preventing dissidents from escaping the clutches of the government crackdown. Hundreds of Chinese citizens who thought they had exit visas will now undergo more scrutiny before being able to leave. And the government issued a veiled threat to the U.S. for giving sanctuary to prominent dissident Fan Lizhi. John Chan has details.
Communist authorities today made it more difficult for Chinese citizens to leave their country amidst mounting arrests of alleged supporters of the pro-democracy movement. Previously, Chinese received exit permission automatically with the issue of their passports. Those who flocked to the American and other Western consulates after the Tiananmen massacre and obtained visas were then free to depart. Under the new rules, after obtaining a foreign visa, Chinese must apply for a second exit permit. At that point, Chinese security officials will determine whether the person may leave the country. China! The new regulations also contain some bad news for the more than 70,000 Chinese students in the United States. If they return to China to visit relatives, they will also be screened before being permitted to leave again. Chinese security officials are known to be sorting through photographs and videotapes to identify students who took part in pro-democracy demonstrations and other activities in support of the student movement in China. And on television and in newspapers today, the Chinese government stepped up its propaganda attacks on the United States. The state-run media charged the U.S. government and the Voice of America with complicity in the anti-government protests from the very beginning of the student pro-democracy movement. The latest anti-American barrage included a statement by a Chinese legal expert claiming that the United States is violating international law by sheltering dissident Fan Lizhi in the U.S. Embassy in Beijing to protect him from arrest. John Sheehan, CBS News, Beijing.
House Speaker Thomas Foley today warned that any attempt by Chinese authorities to invade the U.S. Embassy and capture Fan Lizhi would lead to a break in diplomatic relations. Foley spoke on NBC's Meet the Press. Thousands of Hong Kong residents dared to defy their future government today by holding a solidarity demonstration for the student effort in China. Richard Wagner reports.
The unveiling of a replica of the goddess of democracy was a direct act of defiance aimed at the old men of the Beijing regime. The Chinese leaders are warning the people of Hong Kong that aiding the student movement in China is taking a part in illegal activities aimed at subverting the Chinese government. Nonetheless, thousands of Hong Kong residents turned out today to show support for the pro-democracy movement, which was so ruthlessly crushed by the Chinese authorities. It takes courage to do this in Hong Kong because the territory reverts to Chinese control in 1997. This afternoon, speakers promised the crowds that although the communists knocked down a similar statue in Beijing on the 4th of June, the day will come when the goddess of democracy will again be a shining symbol in Tiananmen Square. Hong Kong is indeed between a rock and a hard place. Behind a banner in the heart of the territory reading, "All of China died in Tiananmen Square," looms the awesome, under construction Bank of China, the symbol here of the coming change. The communists are coming, no doubt of that, and when they do, some people here may pay a price for their courage. Richard Wagner, CBS News, Hong Kong.
Still ahead on the CBS Evening News, Greek voters decide the fate of their scandal-plagued prime minister. And later on Inside Sunday this Father's Day, men who say what's really tough is being tender.
We interrupt this vacation.
Charge it.
For a reminder, there's a better way to go.
Here you are.
Just choose the card that actually pays you cash back for every charge. The Discover card.
Fabulous.
It pays to discover the card that pays you back.
Recently, the Surgeon General issued a report on nutrition and health.
There's a significant relationship between the intake of saturated fats and diet-related heart diseases.
It confirms something we suspect Kellogg's cornflakes lovers have known all along.
To maintain a balance between caloric intake and energy expenditure.
The report recommended foods low in fat and rich in complex carbohydrates. Cornflakes just happens to be one of those kinds of food.
The epidemiological evidence is compelling.
Kellogg's cornflakes. Taste them again for the first time.
Do denture wearers need to worry about tartar? You betcha. That's why I love my new Polident. Its super strength now controls ugly tartar for an even better clean. Try my new super strength Polident. Controls tartar for a super clean.
1935, Pennzoil Motor Oil becomes the #1 choice for protection among Indy race car drivers. Since 1889, Pennzoil has set the standard for quality and protection. Pennzoil, celebrating 100 years of quality.
Elections today in Greece could end 8 years of rule by scandal-tainted Prime Minister Andreas Papandreou. Alan Pizzi reports.
Today's election was supposed to resolve a political situation so torn by scandal that a former Greek president said it had turned the country into a vast madhouse. Socialist Prime Minister Andreas Papandreou, already weakened by major heart surgery, was fighting for his political life in a bitter feud with the leader of the conservative opposition. Papandreou cast his own vote earlier today, accompanied by his mistress, a former airline stewardess half his age. Their public love affair and allegations of government involvement in the embezzlement of $200 million from a Greek bank were the major issues in the election campaign. Papandreou's arch-rival, conservative leader Konstantin Mitsotakis, campaigned on the theme of cleaning up what he called the scandal of Papandreou's administration.
If he is responsible, he has to pay. He has to go to the prison.
Greek politics are like Greek life, colorful, chaotic, and loud. But the carnival-like atmosphere of this campaign was misleading. It's really a negative election, said one analyst. People won't vote for anyone. They'll vote against what they don't like. But it's a vote Greeks must cast. Voting is compulsory here. If there is no clear winner, an alliance of communists and other leftists may hold the balance of power, and that won't solve Greece's many problems.
I think coalition is a disaster for this country. Somebody has to undertake responsibilities, you know.
The first results from small polling stations indicated that the center-right New Democracy Party was making major gains. And if the trend continued, they had a chance of taking power from Papandreou's Socialist Party. Alan Pizzi, CBS News, Athens.
Despite appeals by Solidarity leaders, voters in Poland largely ignored today's second round of parliamentary elections. But enough did show up to give both sides what they wanted. Bert Quint reports.
Mostly it was just communists and their allies who were competing in today's runoff election. And grudgingly and in small numbers, with the urging of Lech Wałęsa, polls returned to the ballot box to give the regime the majority in parliament both sides agree it must have during the delicate transition toward democracy. Despite Solidarity's decisive victory in first-round voting 2 weeks ago, communist leaders pledged to go ahead with that transition. A desperate need for Western financial help forced the communists to hold the freest elections the East Bloc has known. And French President Mitterrand, on a state visit here, made it clear that help would come. Moscow seemed to be sending a signal of approval, too, withdrawing a transport battalion, the first of an expected 10,000 men to be pulled out of Poland by the end of next year. Police in Warsaw clashed with demonstrators who are demanding the remaining 35,000 go, too. When the new parliament meets, perhaps as early as this week, its first order of business will be to elect a president with powers even stronger than those of the Communist Party chief. With the additional seats today's election gives the communists, it now seems certain that president will be a communist, just as it had been planned before the Solidarity landslide. For Solidarity, that's a relief. One leader says, we might have been able to force the election of our man as president, but with communist hardliners looking for a pretext to roll back reform, it could have been the first and the last thing we did. Bert Quint, CBS News, Warsaw.
An Afghan airliner was hijacked today on a domestic flight and reportedly crash-landed inside Iran. Iran says 4 of the 41 people on board were killed and implies the hijackers are in custody. Afghanistan says the hijackers are holding 12 hostages. Journalist I.F. Stone died today. He was 81. Stone edited the liberal magazine The Nation and published I.F. Stone's Weekly for 18 years. One colleague said Stone invented investigative reporting.
We're on the move, leading the way to a better tomorrow through innovations in telecommunications, medical systems, power generation, automotive electronics, components, and automation. With over 28,000 employees at 400 locations coast to coast. We are Siemens.
When I need a laxative, I use Docalax.
Doris Jones talks about Docalax.
I like Docalax because it's very mild and gentle and dependable.
Docalax, tablets and suppositories.
Docalax works every single time.
Ladies, now you can stop shaving and enjoy beautiful hair-free legs for weeks at a time with the Lady Remington Smooth and Silky Rechargeable Hair Removal System. Its hygienic rotating roller quickly removes hair below the skin. Lady Remington.
Why can't they make a stronger flea collar?
Someone has. Scratch X. Look, compared to Hearts and Sergeants, Scratch X has the power to kill twice as many fleas. Compare. All these collars kill fleas, but Scratch X has the power to kill twice as many fleas, since it's government approved to work twice as long.
Yet Scratch X is safe for 3-month-old pets.
Remember, compared to Hearts and Sergeants' 5-month collars, the Scratch X 11-month collar has the power to kill twice as many fleas.
On this anniversary of a major U.S.-Soviet arms treaty, negotiators prepared to resume talks on a new pact. Tomorrow's talks in Geneva are the first in 7 months and the first of the Bush administration. State Department correspondent Bill Plant has our report.
10 years ago today in Vienna, as Jimmy Carter and Leonid Brezhnev signed the Strategic Arms Control Treaty, known as SALT II, the world hoped for a new era of arms control. But SALT II was never ratified, in part because the Senate doubted it could be verified, and in part because it didn't make actual arms reductions.
Frustrating that it didn't come to full fruition, but on the other hand, very gratifying that here we are 10 years later, and we're still basically living within the rules of that treaty.
Ronald Reagan and Mikhail Gorbachev agreed on the world's first actual reduction of nuclear weapons. But even as they talked, the largest military buildup in U.S. history was well underway. And now, the U.S. and the Soviet Union have 24,000 warheads for their long-range missiles aimed at each other.
The reality of SALT II was it proved that there were other ways to provide for our security.
But the two sides have continued to talk about arms control, and after the U.S. and Soviet leaders agreed in principle to cut their nuclear arsenals by half, negotiators began producing a draft treaty. The Bush administration has been studying that draft, and now, with negotiations starting up again, the signal from Washington is status quo.
So it looks like the two sides are going to start on Monday with the same problems they had on the table when they ended in November.
Instead, administration officials say they will try a radical new approach, negotiating the difficult and troublesome issues of verification before they finish negotiating the treaty itself. Conservatives are applauding.
We ought to be insisting upon precision and verification and effective limitations where we can get them.
But other arms control experts are predicting disaster.
We're sort of putting the cart in front of the horse, and I think there's a lot of risk to doing that. A risk to the pace of the negotiations, a risk to the possibility of completing the negotiations.
But the real risk, as far as the Bush administration is concerned, is that a new arms control treaty may wind up like SALT II, rejected by the Senate because it can't be verified. Even in arms control, all politics is local. Bill Plant, CBS News, Washington.
It's been almost a year since George Bush began talking up the idea of America as a nation of volunteers, helping one another. Now, as Ron Allen reports, the president is trying to inject some electricity into his 1,000 points of light.
Sunday afternoon at a Washington soup kitchen. The people who are sprucing things up and preparing lunch for the homeless are volunteering their time and setting an example that President Bush will challenge the nation's youth to follow this week.
From now on, the definition of the good life in America
must include service to others.
The president will call his proposal the YES program, Youth Entering Service. It's designed to create opportunities for America's young people to help those less fortunate and to instill the value of volunteerism in the next generation. Nearly a dozen proposals with the same concept are generating enthusiasm in Congress. Some lawmakers hope this is the beginning of an era of altruism after a decade of selfishness.
I think the young people and others in our society are want to serve and are indignant about many of the injustices and want to be a part of the solution and not the problem.
If you were ready, if you're kind of fit for duty and ready to help your community, we're willing to help you have access to the American dream.
Under the proposals, volunteers would be able to earn academic credits, pay off college debts, even earn vouchers for down payments on a new home. While the idea of incentives for volunteerism has widespread appeal, some lawmakers urge caution. Labor, for example, worries that volunteers could replace low-wage earning employees.
There are concerns in some quarters about interrupting other programs, including such things as recruitment programs for the armed services.
It's those kinds of concerns the president's proposal must reconcile. He's expected to begin outlining specifics during a high school commencement speech in Philadelphia tomorrow. A national volunteer service pilot program could be in effect by fall. Ron Allen, CBS News, the White House.
Former football star John Matusek has died in Los Angeles. He was 38. Hospital officials say Matusek suffered a heart attack, but an autopsy today failed to pinpoint the exact cause of death. After his career with the NFL Raiders ended, Matusek turned to acting, appearing in such films as North Dallas 40.
Thank you, Aaron. Okay, Josie, would you please read yours?
My summer vacation. We left for 2 weeks to go to Yellowstone. That was Saturday. Then Daddy's money got stolen and we had to come home. That was Sunday.
It could happen to you right here in the U.S., so don't carry cash. Carry American Express traveler's checks. Don't leave home without them.
See this phone? This is my store. And for years, my store was at the mercy of AT&T. But now, with MCI, I finally have an 800 service that charges me only for the actual distance of the calls we get and can tell me where every one of those calls is coming from. And that makes this a better store.
MCI, we are the better long-distance company.
100 years ago, before America's landfills were overflowing, these words were written. The earth does not belong to man. Man belongs to the earth. In the web of life, man is merely a strand. Whatever he does to the web, he does to himself. This thought is brought to you by Alcoa as a reminder to recycle your aluminum beverage cans. Already, half the aluminum cans come back for recycling. What about yours?
Well, Mom had her turn last month. This is the day we pay tribute to Dad. It's Father's Day. And tonight on Inside Sunday, we look at the man of the house, how he's holding up under the pressure, how he's held up as a role model. We begin with reporter James Hattori and the fathers we've come to know, as well as our own.
I need your help, Dad.
Father, you're just the one I want to see.
When television began, families were too good to be true. Father did know best. Today, the stories seem more real, but TV fathers remain one-dimensional caricatures.
And I want my dinner and my slippers. 'Cause I'm the boss here. Damn it!
Over the years, television has portrayed good fathers, bad fathers, single fathers, divorced fathers, but the challenge is always to present not a stereotyped character, but a real father.
I think the basic problem is that television doesn't mirror the reality. Television mirrors the fantasy that we all believe.
Come here. Take TV's most popular father, Cliff Huxtable. He may be a good role model, but few at home can measure up.
Now listen to me. I just want you to do the best you can. That's all.
The scriptwriters are a lot better than me.
At times you come upon situations, you say, oh, I wish I knew the answer, and boy, they always have it on TV.
I feel bad for dads who have their children come up to them saying, how come you can't be more like Cliff Huxtable?
I can't apologize to you anymore. I can't make any promises anymore.
But today, super dads aren't the only show in town. Some TV fathers are beginning to stray from the traditional role, admitting faults, conveying compassion and understanding.
We portray fathers a little bit more realistically. People are portrayed in a more complex way, and that's realistic. That's more respectful of what people are about.
Gee, what's your name? Gabriela.
On Sesame Street, the first show to cater to the TV generation, a new father is teaching the ABCs of parent involvement.
Okay, let's see. Giving your baby a bath.
It suggests to the child that it is possible to be this kind of father when the child grows up.
Those kinds of messages may be just what the audience wants.
Viewers are demanding that television become more and more honest and reflect even more closely their lives at home.
And if that trend continues, TV fathers will have to find better ways of resolving crises than by simply sitting down at the kitchen table. James Hattori, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Traditionally, the TV dad could be counted on for support in a crisis, and he usually could resolve any problem in a half hour. But where do real-life fathers turn when they need help? Well, as Harold Dow reports, more and more men are leaning on each other.
Stephen Albert, 49 years old, model of the American dream. Beautiful home, wife, family, and successful career. And he's a member of a male support group, or RAP.
It has been something that softens me. It's helped me to be vulnerable.
Steve's part of a growing self-help movement just for men, and it's springing up across the country. In New Jersey and New York alone, there are over 48 male support groups.
I think men are beginning to realize that there's more to life than just competition and achievement. They're getting more confidence in themselves, more feeling that they're adequate adults, also adequate males.
Now my turn. For 10 years now, Steve's group has met twice a month. They talk about family, friends, work, and their feelings.
I'm feeling very lonely. You know, I miss you all, and I don't see enough of the children, and I don't even sometimes think about them enough.
Last week I was talking about being unhappy about some of the things I had to do relative to the kids, and everything basically has worked out very well on that front.
Things are going well with Sheila, so that's good, and talk to the kids.
It's because of what they found out about themselves in the rap group that has enabled them to confide in each other this way.
Growing up male in America, there's not a lot of permission for doing this. You're supposed to be strong, self-sufficient island.
One of these days, one of us is going to die. Well, we're all going to die. But one of us is going to, since there's no reason for this group's ever going to break up, we're going to have to deal with that someday. And that's going to be a tough issue.
But for Joe, Bob, Arnie, Steve, Paul, and Tom, not as tough as it could be if they had not gotten together in this support group.
I don't think I ever hugged a man in my life until I came to this group.
Roberto, good to see you.
Harold Dow, CBS News, Princeton, New Jersey.
Coming up next, where a man's patience and understanding are put to the test, the Little League field. Inside Sunday continues in a moment on the CBS Evening News.
This is John Overly, and this is his farm. It's the Benjamin Moore Paint Farm. Out here, John tests thousands of Benjamin Moore paints to make sure they'll withstand years of sun and cold, rain and snow without cracking, peeling, or fading. These tests help make Benjamin Moore the only paint good enough for the Reynolds family and their new home. They wouldn't settle for anything less, would you?
When something means so much, see your Benjamin Moore dealer.
Ever try this coffee?
Oh, no. I use a special blend, brewed fresh. So do we. But then we freeze dry to lock in superior flavor and aroma until you release it. Perfect. Who are you? We're Taster's Choice.
Just this much Cortaid heals more kinds of itches and rashes than all of these. Because Cortaid has a clinically proven healing medicine they don't have. That's why Cortaid is the Itch Aid.
It was Dean Witter's personal philosophy of success.
We have a sacred trust to protect our customers.
But its impact was felt on California Street.
To maintain conservative policies.
On Lincoln Street and Acorn Street.
To put the interest of our clients first.
Dean Witter put principles before profit, people before portfolios. There are many ways to measure success on Wall Street.
We measure success one investor at a time.
Dean Witter, a member of the Sears Financial Network.
The final report tonight in our Inside Sunday Look at Men is about young men. Young men, a field of dreams, and how dreams come true. For Joshua Rayford, playing the piano has paid off. The deal was, if he played the piano, he could play on the Little League team. The problem was, not only was there no team, there wasn't even a Little League. There hasn't been a Little League in Harlem for 20 years. So his parents started their own.
All right, beautiful, beautiful.
And we thought it would be a great activity, not only for him, but for the other kids in the neighborhood.
Big league citizens is what we're after, not big league ball players. Good hit.
Iris and Dwight Rayford organized parents and persuaded local businesses to sponsor the teams. And lo and behold, this spring, Harlem finally got a Little League team. 8 of them, in fact. Now, every Saturday, 129 boys and girls play ball.
Go!
That's fun.
Before we started this, Josh knew about baseball. May watch it every once in a while, but now we watch ball games together. We're interested. And it's another link for us.
For Dwight Rayford, it's the link that counts.
I think it's hard being a father, period, these days. And being in Harlem, adds another layer onto it. Go, Josh, go, 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 go!
But the team is only just beginning. Without a regular playing field, Harlem Little League can only play once a week for 4 hours. So the Rayfords now dream of a field of their own.
If we could get a Little League ball field next to every housing project in Harlem, I think the kids would have a much healthier life.
For now, though, the 18 Little League is already making a difference. For Harlem, for the players, and most importantly, for the Rayfords.
If you hit it, you can get on base. If you hit it, you can get on base.
It's not going to solve the homeless problem or the drug problem, but it's about everyone doing their little bit and giving back to the community.
Hey, good game, guys. Hey, come here.
Incidentally, Little League Baseball is now celebrating its golden anniversary. The first game was played 50 years ago this month. Since then, more than 20 million youngsters have played on a Little League team. And that's our news. Dan Rather will be here tomorrow night. And later tonight, Bill Plant with the CBS Sunday Night News. I'm Connie Chung in New York. I'll see you again next Sunday night. Thank you for joining us, and for all of us at CBS News, happy Father's Day, Dad.
I'm Harry Smith. Tomorrow, America's middle schools. Are they unprepared for the problems of youngsters? Also this week, Dan Aykroyd and Robin Williams on CBS This Morning.
This is CBS.
Coming up on Eyewitness News, a very different Father's Day story. Teenagers are getting a new perspective on their futures. A look at the mayor, the council, and the budget. And in sports, a living baseball card. Eyewitness News is next.